Good morning, students. Recently, we were dealing with the chapter Simple Machines. Hope you have gone through the chapter. So, today we will be again going to learn about two more types of simple machines. First, let's see what a wedge is. So, what is a wedge? It is a type of inclined plane in which two inclined planes are joined together to form a sharp edge. So, in a wedge, two inclined planes are joined together to form a sharp edge. And these inclined planes are arranged in such a way that it definitely forms a sharp edge, which is the significant feature of a wedge. It is one of the oldest tools that were used by human beings for various life activities. And it is used for mainly three types of activities, that is splitting, connecting and tightening. So, wedge is a simple machine in which two inclined planes are aligned together to form a sharp edge, and it is used for three activities: splitting, connecting and tightening. Now let's see how it works. So, an example for wedge is axe. Let's consider it as an example to explain its working. When we apply force to the widened edge of the axe, the force that we apply gets spread across the two inclined planes and it helps in splitting the wood. So, when we apply force to the widened edge of the axe or wedge, the input force gets split across the two inclined planes and it helps in splitting the wood. So, the examples for wedge are the blade of axe, as we discussed earlier, the needle that we use for stitching purposes, and knife that we use in our kitchen for cutting fruits and vegetables. So, wedge is a simple machine in which two inclined planes are aligned together to form a sharp edge, and it is used for three activities: splitting, connecting and tightening. And the examples include blade of axe, needle and knife. Now, take page number 117 and you have to do an activity in that page. So, in that activity, there are three statements given and you have to choose the right option. The first statement is, it is easier to break the shell of a walnut by option A, hand, option B, using a nutcracker. The second statement is, an inclined plane is a option A, simple machine, option B, complex machine. And the third statement is, a pin is a option A, complex machine, option B, simple machine. Now let's answer these questions. The first question, it is easier to break the shell of a walnut by, answer is using a nutcracker. The second question, an inclined plane is a simple machine. Third question, a pin is a simple machine. So, a wedge is a simple machine in which two inclined planes are aligned together to form a sharp edge, and it is used for three activities: splitting, connecting and tightening. That was all about the topic wedge. Now let's get into the next topic. So students, have you ever seen a person pushing a heavy box, or have you tried to push a heavy box? So when we try to push a heavy box or a heavy object, there are basically two forces acting on the object. The first one is frictional force and the second one is the gravitational force. Frictional force is the force resisting motion of object on the ground, and gravitational force is the force that pulls the object towards the ground. So, it becomes difficult for a person to push a heavy box because of these forces, that is the frictional force and gravitational force. So, what is the solution to this problem or situation? The answer is wheel and axle. So, when we try to push a heavy object or a heavy box using a wheel and axle, the rotation of the wheel helps in reducing the frictional force that acts on the heavy object. Thus, it becomes easier to move a heavy box. That is, when we push a heavy object using a wheel and axle, the rotation of the wheels helps in distributing the force, which results in reducing the frictional force that acts on the heavy object. Thus, it becomes helpful in pushing the heavy object. So, what is a wheel and axle? A wheel and axle is a simple machine in which the wheel is attached to an axle. Axle is the rod that goes through the center of the wheel, which lets the wheel turn. So, a wheel and axle works together to help the motion of the heavy objects. So, wheel and axle is a simple machine in which the wheel is attached to the axle, and axle is the rod that goes through the center of the wheel and which helps in the motion of the wheel. The faster the axle is turned, the faster the wheel spins. And what is the use of wheel and axle? It is used to move heavy objects and to set things in motion. That is, most of the vehicles that we see on roads work with the principle of wheel and axle. So, a wheel and axle helps in moving heavy objects as well as to set things in motion. All kinds of vehicles have wheels fixed to an axle. Now, let's see some examples for wheel and axle. The first one is the steering wheel in vehicles. The second one is the handle of doors, and the third one is knob of tap. So, wheel and axle is a simple machine in which the wheel is attached to an axle. Axle is the rod that goes to the center of the wheel which helps in the motion of the wheel. And the examples include steering wheel, handle of doors and knob of tap. The wheel and axle is mainly used to set things in motion and to move heavy objects from one place to another. So that was all about today's topic, wheel and axle. You have to go through the lesson after this class and you have to note the important points in your notebook. Hope the topic was clear to you. Thank you.